I mean, where would I even start? I mean, 2003 TMNT is probably in my top 10 favorite shows ever made. It like it's in my top 10 favorite shows ever. 2003 TMNT means so much to me, and I will tell you why. Because it was my first introduction into the TMNT universe. I mean, we got the best Shredder, we got the best Master Splinter, we got the best April, we got arguably, to me, the best Turtles. And I will say now, having seen most content involving the Turtles, whether it be the comics, the shows, the movies, unfortunately, it's, uh it's very much a niche brand that a lot of people love, and I see why a lot of people love it, but people don't really talk much about the fandom, and I've always been kinda curious as to why people don't talk about especially 2003 TMNT. I mean, this show was absolute gas, and something that you have to remember is that there hadn't really been a cartoon TMNT up to this point since the 1980s. And this cast of characters lasted from 2003 to 2011, which is crazy to me. I mean, most shows probably get like a 3 to 4 year runtime at max. These dudes got three separate shows. They got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they got Fast Forward, and then they got Back to the Sewer. Plus, they got Turtles Forever, which merged them with two of their other counterparts. The 80s show and then the 80s comics where you couldn't tell them apart except for their weapons. Fun. But the reason that I love 2003 TMNT is I think a lot of it is that and this is going to sound very, very cliche, but if you don't have brothers, you're not going to understand or like this as much. Because I think having a brother or brothers is something that you really would have to understand on a personal level in order in like I think that's part of why I like this show because the thing about this is the turtles are not perfect. They fight a lot, but that's also accurate because brothers fight a lot. And but they always try in their own way to always be a better brother to each other. And they feel like a real family because families fight a lot. And don't let anybody tell you that there's a perfect family because they're not. And I mean, the turtles were raised by a rat, but they revere him as their father, as they should, because Master Splinter raised them from little babies until they were teenagers, and he taught them martial arts and all that stuff. And I think another part of this too is that Splinter's origin is like heartbreaking on this show. He loses his master after his master taught him martial arts. Um, because his master's friend sold them out to the Shredder, and the Shredder killed his master. And it was just really sad, man. And that leads me to another point. The Shredder is amazing on the 2003 TMNT show. The Shredder is absolutely insane. He's crazy on this show. He really is. He is something else. And they fudged up with, Karai later on, but I gotta tell you, when you first meet 2003 Shredder, oh my god. Oh my god. It is absolutely insane, like, how next level of a villain he is. He is scary, he is intimidating, and when you don't see his face directly, you just see his eyes glowing. He has, like, glowing, like, red eyes, and then one of the coolest scenes before you find out who Shredder really is. You think that he's dead. I think this is at the end of season 2 after the turtles beat him, and he's in fire, right? Homie's walking through fire, carrying his head, walking through fire. That is still one of the coolest shots, I think, in in the history of animated television. It is actually crazy. It is insane. It is insane like that visual alone sold me on Shredder as a character. And it's kind of the thing with the turtles is though they have more antagonists than just the Shredder, but it seems like Shredder is the one that's always used. But I mean, there's the Utrom that lead into lead into the Krang. Um the Triceratops, Agent Bishop, like, and that all gets touched upon in this show. This show feels like a love letter to 2003 TMNT, and shout out to Godzilla Mendoza for literally digging and doing the research. But a lot of the quotes from this show are from the 80s comics, are literally from the 80s comics. And so I think that this show is just a love letter to 80s comics TMNT. And if you're around my age, this was your TMNT growing up. Now, a lot of people are in a weird spot because they're like my age, but you grew up with this, but then after this ended officially, there was 2012 TMNT, which is a whole other bag of worms that I don't want to get into today. I'll probably get into it on a future video, but I gotta tell you, this washes over everything. In terms of TMNT, personally, I don't think that this show will ever be matched ever. I mean, it could be at some point, maybe, but like this show will forever stand the test of time. This was just a great show about four turtle brothers who learn to be the best versions of themselves for each other, and they fight for each other. They fight against evil, and it's just a good versus evil show. And they could have done some stupid stuff where, like, they break up and they come close to it a couple times, but they don't. They stick together as a family. They stick together as a family. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And if you agree with me, feel free to subscribe and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Love y'all.